We're here for another 2 dogs of the 70 Hot Dogs 2025. Today we're doing the Seattle dog, and we're going to be doing the Birmingham dog. So for Seattle, we've got a split dog that's grilled on a toasted bun with grilled onions, cream cheese, sriracha, and jalapeños are optional. You can guarantee that we are putting jalapeños on there. Birmingham is yellow mustard, onions, sauerkraut with a beef-based sauce and spices. So we are getting ready to work on our beef-based sauce because that's going to be our first step because we need it to go forward with anything. So let's go over there. Okay, we went ahead and had some of our vegetables chopped up already for us, but first thing you need to do to make the Birmingham beef-based sauce, which by the way is actually very difficult to find like an actual recipe that seemed to match the description. So we're going to throw down the oil, and then we've got a quarter of a medium onion, which we're going to throw down as soon as this going. For the entire recipe, we're going to need, like I said, the quarter of the yellow onion. We're going to need about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, 2 cups of water, some tomato paste, corn syrup, and corn starch. We need salt, cayenne pepper, some distilled white vinegar, which we're going to be using white wine vinegar just because that's what I got in the pantry, and we've got just enough to fill it up. And then chili powder, oregano, cumin, and that'll be it for the beef-based sauce. Okay, so like I said, we got this done, so we're going to chop up some of the other vegetables we need while we wait for that oil to heat up. First up, we're going to be using that jalapeno, like I said, for the Seattle dog. So we're going to go ahead and chop that up real quick. Go ahead and take out the seeds in the middle there. Boom. We'll wash that out in a minute. We're going to chop this up for the grilled onions on that Seattle dog, and then we'll set that to the side. And really, that's kind of all the other vegetables we actually kind of need today. So let's check on that oil. Our oil is looking hot enough for me to throw down our onions. Just a little on the low side of the temperature. There we go. We'll let those saute for a couple minutes, about 3 to 4. Onions the right color, a little translucent. We're going to throw down our garlic. Get that mixed in. We're going to let this cook for just a minute, just enough to start letting some of that aroma come up here before moving on to the next step. Alright, our garlic's starting to smell pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and put in a cup of water. Now the recipe calls for 2 cups. I'm going to do 1 cup because I like my sauce a little bit thicker. And we're going to see if it turns out we can always add more water in a little bit. Next up, we want to do about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. We want 2 teaspoons of corn syrup. About 1 teaspoon of corn starch. Gotta get that syrup out of there. Here's that corn starch. Salt. Cayenne pepper. Our white vinegar. Oregano to taste, which we're going to put a good amount in. Some cumin. And a bit of chili powder. This is a chili powder mixture, so it's not straight chili powder. I think it's probably good. And we're going to mix that up. We're going to let it cook for just a minute. And it will thicken up as we go. Alright, now that this is coming to a boil, we bring it to a boil. And then we reduce it to a low simmer for 45 minutes, stirring frequently. And we might add some water as we go. Alright, so everything's making some pretty good progress. We're going to go ahead and throw down our onions. Toss them in that oil a little bit. We're grilling those up for our Seattle dog. Speaking of our Seattle, we're going to go ahead and throw down our split dog for Seattle. And there's our whole dog for Birmingham. Birmingham. And then this sauce is looking pretty thick and it's coming along. I think I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking, so I'm not going to put in any extra water at this point. I think just for being able to stay on the hot dog and not being as messy, I want that thicker sauce. So we're keeping it how it is. We're going to let this stuff grill up, and then pretty soon we can start assembling our dogs. We've got our buns in the oven. Preheat's done, so our buns are in the oven. They should be toasted very shortly. And we're actually good to start assembling our dogs. So we're going to start with the Seattle one. First up, we're going to grab our split hot dog. Flop that down on our toasted bun. Next up is some grilled onions. Well, that's a bit more onions than I intended. Actually, no, I think that's going to be the right amount. And I'm going to put a bit of cream cheese along the edge there. I think we're just going to throw it in there on the side right here. There we go. So you got that cream cheese in there. And then some Sriracha. And our jalapeños. And that is our Seattle dog. Is Seattle done? Time for us to put up our Birmingham dog. I'm going to throw down the dog first. Then our onions. Now, the National Hot Dog Council didn't say specifically if it needed, it just said onions. It didn't say grilled or raw. So, because I was already grilling up some onions, we're just going to go with grilled. If it's supposed to be raw, I apologize. I think there's enough crunch, we'll be okay. Then we've got sauerkraut. Let's see if I can avoid making a mess like I have previously when putting sauerkraut down. So far, this Birmingham's not very attractive looking, but our main ingredient is still to come. We're gonna throw down some mustard on the Birmingham. And here is our sauce. Now I know the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council says that it's a beef-based sauce, but tell you what, if you can find me a beef-based sauce recipe specifically for hot dogs, I'll remake the Birmingham and try it again. But here is our Birmingham hot dog. And I think it looks very, very nice. Now comes the taste test. First up, we're going to do the Seattle dog because I already know how this tastes, and I want the Birmingham to go last here. So, it's a good hot dog. The cream cheese helps balance out that Sriracha a little bit, and it just tastes great. So I'm gonna say, see, it tastes good, but it's not spectacular. It doesn't make me go, wow. It's a good, decent dog. So I'm gonna give it like a, I don't want to say 3. I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 because it is a good go-to dog, but it doesn't wow me. Now our Birmingham, this looks delightful. That sauce is amazing. Now, I have to wonder if I could find an actual beef sauce, if I would give this a 5. Because right now this is kind of more like a tomato sauce. So, I'm going to give this a 4 because it is really good. It's something different. It tastes great. Everything works together. There's a good combination of flavors going on here. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. If I find a real beef-based sauce, maybe I'll redo this, and I bet I'll give it a 5 out of 5. So,